Welcome back to Ozarks Tonight. I'm Heather Lewis, and Steve Pokin is joining us again from the Springfield News Leader. Thanks for being here.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here.
Your column today in the newspaper brought tears to my eyes. I mean, I told you it was like a movie in the making almost.
Yeah, it's a heck of a story.
Set right here in Springfield, too. And it's a story also just about a World War II veteran, a boat, a dream, and friendship.
Friendship, and I would also add a love story that when he met his wife. And I'll try to streamline this story, and it's got so many different aspects, and tell it chronologically. And I've written about Mr. Rosendahl before, as has other journalists. But he was born in Minnesota, land of 1,000 lakes and many, many sailboats. He always had an interest in sailing. He recently died in February at the age of 98. So he's a World War II vet, and he was sent to the South Pacific, and he was a mechanic. He's a pretty handy guy. And he was in the Philippines, and there was an event called the Bataan Death March. So he was fighting, along with the other American soldiers, with their Filipino counterparts against the Imperial Army of Japan. They weren't well supported. They were captured. And they marched them to a place called Bataan, and it was horrific. It was 60 miles. They didn't have food or water. Their Japanese counterparts were ruthless. They didn't have much acceptance for the idea of surrender to begin with. People who fell behind were shot. He saw this. People were bayoneted. People became hysterical because they didn't have enough water. And he was a POW for there and also in Manchuria, China, which was under Japanese occupation. I am not doing that justice. And I realize that the horror that he went through, you know, he was near starvation.
We can't describe.
Things that, we're so fortunate that we don't have to experience that. But he and many others of his generation did. Regular people pulled, that our country called them to do, just incredibly difficult things to do. And I'm always touched by that story because he shared with me back in 2015 that he always had to deal with the fact that he knows that in that fighting, when he's called upon by this nation to be a soldier, he killed people. And, you know, and that's something that he has accepted and he lived with. He had, somehow he kept with him as a POW plans to build a boat. And he would, in his mind, every night, in order to, in large part, survive horrific conditions, he would think about that boat and building the boat when he came back to home, if he ever made it. So that was his connection to hope in a hopeless situation. Obviously he survived. He ended up in Springfield, and he had planned to initially, he was going to build that. He was going to build it in the Philippines and sail it to Tahiti. Recently, 6 gentlemen, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, are going to restore that boat. It's in his yard. It's been there for decades. They went in a couple weeks ago, and they found a journal that he kept in there, and he talks about the plan. I'm going to build it. My original plan is build it, go to Tahiti, and then I met the love of my life. And her name was Betty.
Put on hold after that.
I think Tahiti got put on hold by Betty Hefty. Their first date was July 4th, 1946 in St. Louis, and there's a picture of that. And they were married August 15th in 1946, and which was 1 year to the day since he had been liberated as a POW. Settled here. They had 6 children. One of them died, and starting in the 80s when they built their house on South Golden Avenue, he started to build a boat. The boat that kept him alive. I talked to one of his sons, Eric, and he said, you know, he never talked about POW. I was about 15. He's out there building a boat, And he almost like compelled, he told the story about being a POW because he had to explain why
that was so important to him.
Why it was so important, why he's building a boat. And he worked on that, and he worked on that, and he never finished it. The hull is there, and it had sat there. People in the community have seen it for decades, this unfinished boat in this overgrown area, probably not realizing what the story is behind that. So he was married 73 years to the love of his life. She died Christmas Day, 2019. Not surprisingly, this happens, you know, he died soon thereafter at the age of 98. 6 guys in their 60s, they all know each other. One of them is his son, Eric, have decided they're going to do the job. They're going to finish it, and God willing, they're going to hire a captain, and they're going to sail it to Tahiti in honor of Mr. Rosendahl. They say that the boat basic is 90% done. They recently found the sails, which Mr. Rosendahl had stitched himself. They said everything in that boat is built over spec. The level of steel, the engine which he built, his handprints are everywhere in that boat. And as I say in my story, he built that boat to survive just about anything the same way God made him. So I don't know if it's ever going to make it to Tahiti. I hope it does. But it's just really a great tribute to an American hero.
Absolutely. And it's set to make its maiden voyage on Stockton Lake? Is that
That's
correct?
the plan.
Okay.
They're going to get it off the property. The house is for sale now. The husband and wife have died. Within 3 weeks in storage, they're going to work on it. They're setting up a GoFundMe page. Then it's going to make its maiden voyage. A lot of people say, when's the last time? It's never been in the water.
Yeah.
It's never been titled because it's never been finished. So Eric was saying, people ask him all the time, what year is the boat? He said, well, when we title it, like next year, it'll be 2021, is you know, the year of it was made. So, and then if it goes to Lake Stockton, they want to sail it to Tahiti. They're going to have to hire somebody who really knows what to do, a captain. But I asked all 6 of them. It sleeps 6. Any of you guys willing to go on that boat to Tahiti? And all 6 of them said that they were up for it.
Like you said, honoring a true American hero.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve Pokum, we'll look for the follow-up when that sets sail, too.
Yeah, there's more to this amazing story.
Okay, Steve Pokum with the Springfield News Leader. Make sure you check out his column. Thanks for being here.
Oh, you bet. Thank you.
We'll be right back.